AAA games. What are they to hear no one ask? I know two things about AAA games. They cost a lot of money and they last a couple of months.
That's what she said.
Indie games have been killing them off quicker than my brain cells every time I drop into Fortnite. 5 games later.
What?
What was I talking about? Oh yeah, indie games. Helldiver 2 is amazing, look at this. Wait, no, that was a different script. Oh yeah, AAA games could be dying, I'm worried, yeah. If you look at the future of AAA games right now, what is there coming out what you're excited for? Dragon's Dogma 2 is out. And released the same day as Rise of the Ronin. Terrible idea. Also, what isn't a remake? Oi, keyboard warrior who commented too quickly Paper Mario 1000 Doors of Paper. Pause this video, make some green tea, and calm the F down. I would say maybe 2 games for myself. South Park Snow Day, what could be already out by the time this video gets out. And Hellblade 2 maybe? I truly don't really trust Xbox anymore. Do they still even make games? Really, I am asking, I'm not sure. Then PlayStation is acting like it's the end of a generation. It feels like it's only been out for 2 years. There's a reason why a lot of people got pissed off when they remastered Last of Us Part 2. It just feels that them 2 years didn't happen. Things are changing in the AAA market. The lines are becoming even more blurry, and I think it's time to answer the question, should we be worried about the AAA games? Developers, games, studios, shareholders, all 4 elements lived in harmony, and then everything changed when the shareholders attacked. Only the indies, master of all 4 elements. Well, you know the rest.
Phone home.
Firstly, we have to talk about the growing parasite in the gaming industry, like some may call gas. But in this video, I'm going to call it ET. Every time I say ET, it means game as a service. And if you don't know why ET, come on, you need to know your gaming history. And if the editor is doing his job, you'll be seeing why now. This little thing that was the inspiration behind Alien from American Dad nearly destroyed the whole video game industry back in the 80s because it was that bad, and it starts to feel like we're going down that route. And I've been doing this little series for a while. Now it feels like it's the right time to worry about the AAA industry. Thinking about gas drove me to think about ET because it felt like whoever made ET back in the day thought it would sell millions but ended up in landfill. In the digital age, I would say this would be this. And this. And that's really the reason behind it. ET is weirdly growing, even though it's not at the same time. When you look at ETs around, they're collapsing at the weight of trying to make players constantly play the game. Take this for example, one of the biggest publishers out there, behind one of the biggest games of 2023 being Harry Potter,
I shouldn't have said that. I should not have said that.
is now diving headfirst into ETs. WB Games is one of the studios that has published some of the best games of generations and have already released one of the worst letdowns of 2024, and guess what? It's an ET. There's also a report that most studios somewhere in the dark corners are also working on ETs, making it feel like not so far in the distant future we're going to have games just releasing and trying to make us play, but not actually purchase, but also not put them down. Basically every game will be like social media. Imagine 100 TikToks trying to get your attention. It would be a worrying nightmare. Let's have a look at the recent ETs that have released. Suicide Squad, what was maybe one of the worst games I played with cookie-cutter missions, and it destroyed a lot of dreams, including my own.
Don't cry, don't cry, don't cry, don't cry, don't cry.
And then we have Skull and Bone, what took everything good out of Black Flag and replaced it with meh.
You're basic.
Technically, Helldivers 2 is an ET, but that is a indie game, so I'm not counting it. Going to lie, I play live service games, and it feels like it has the same relationship you have with social media. And I'm not addicted, I just stayed up till 5 AM trying to unlock a bird as the word amount. And I hear you all ask, did I unlock it? No, and it gave me nightmares. Yeah, the juggernaut of the ET genre will always be here. Disney now have a massive stock in Fortnite.
I'm the juggernaut, bitch!
Also, they ruined Star Wars, not Disney, well actually both of them in the end.
But it doesn't make any sense.
Disney already has its claws hooked in deep with a little game called Marvel Snap. I have lost a lot of days with Marvel Snap, but I can delete it whenever I want. 2 days later.
Snap! Occupied!
If I deleted Fortnite, I can delete Marvel Snap, right? See, it's definitely not playing on my PC right now as I'm doing this voiceover. Shh, I'm done with it. There are others like Apex Legends and Warzone that most likely will never die, and really that isn't a bad thing. I deleted them a while ago. Really nothing has measured up to that. Some have tickled the ceiling but none have quite smashed it. There is a limit on how much time you can put into these games. Still, the fact that we are going to see more of them is worrying, as it seems like more studios will do it. That is another thing though. If there is another Fortnite that comes out the woodwork, it will take time like a vampire.
Like Twilight.
Making it feel like soon, if the trend continues, it could have a massive damage to the industry in the longer run and therefore lead to an ET level incident. Indie games have been popular for a while, and that's a good thing. They deserve it. Passionate people developing games of passion, they deserve this success. But it feels like we're currently in the second boom period of the indie industry. This could be down to two reasons, one of them being the little dull period of the AAAs or the ET growth, what really needs to be checked out. Even though yes, we've had some boom periods of the indie games, it feels like we're currently in a second coming of the indie games, with indie games popping up more and more and blowing AAA games out the water. Look at some of the games we've had recently, some of the massive, amazing, simple and cinematic games like Helldivers 2. Some have been wacky as the deepest hell of Nintendo, where Wario lives with Pizza Tower. What needs to be ported to consoles ASAP? I want to play the pizza guy with the sauce. We still do have the questionable, and how the hell did people actually buy this Pal World? Still, all these are big numbers, and there is so much more. Looking at these games, it feels like something is rumbling in the indie jungle. Also, massive likelihood of quality increasing. Even though indie budgeting may be a problem with all games, but there is still now a massive possibility new studios opening all over the shop.
Big summer blowout.
So many layoffs, I can see many of them trying to open their own studios, developing their own games. Whole new generation of indie boomers hitting the Steam page and hopefully in the consoles in the future. But what does that mean for the AAA market, and why is this kind of worrying? If we look deeper into the death of the AAA industry, it's not just worrying for the AAAs, it's also worrying for the indies. Take this for example. If the AAA industry was snapped out of existence tomorrow, oh, I have a problem. In this realm of possibility, this being obviously the darkest timeline, this shit doesn't happen in a good timeline. Indies killing the AAA market is a bad thing. Think of it like this. How many people are employed by AAA studios? Like 100 to 500 people? And an indie game can range from one person to round about 50. Some are more, but we are averaging here. That means if the AAA bubble bursts, thousands of new indies would flood the market like this. I'm sure there's talented people out there, there is no doubt there will be a lot of stinkers. Also, we wouldn't see any of them, as the big AAA companies would most likely throw a lot of money into the indie market, like a shadow dropping 10 games out of nowhere, so no indie game can plan around it. We will see some indie games act like Icarus and fly too close to the indie sun, and some will make it. They will sit on the clouds of Olympus among the gods of AAA, but still we will see some Hello Neighbours out there who will get so close but burn and fall down and grovel at the feet of the gamers. The fact that we can get games like Helldivers 2 is amazing and could be literally game changing. So let's dive into the industry for a moment. In the year of 2024, it might be a quiet year for many reasons. So rather than the year of the dragon, it looks like we could be in the year of the indie, or could it be the year of war? On one side we have the AAA, and on one side we have indie games, and developers are stuck in the middle. Indie games could have a landslide victory with bits of AAA everywhere. This is down to a couple of reasons. Humbling ball time. Number 1, we have PlayStation not releasing any first-party games this year. Number 2, we have Switch 2 not releasing till probably 2025. And then lastly, we have Xbox with number 3. What? Well, they're not going to do shit, it's Xbox, they don't release anything. Are they even still making games? All these three elements will most likely end in a pretty quiet year for gaming. We will get some massive hits, don't get me wrong, but these three elements will create a large amount of open space, where little stars can pop up through the year and shine much brighter than they usually would. Put that on a t-shirt and go to the bank and get more indie games, making it feel like if you weren't an indie game before, this year, they will get you. And you thought buying maybe 1 or 2 AAA games were bad. Imagine getting so hooked on indie games, you have one bite, and then you're hooked, and in the end of the month you've got 10 indie games that adds up to 5 AAA games. That's why you need to subscribe to the Memberlin Gamer. I need more indie games to stop my... Did you hear that? So it's possibly still worrying, as if AAA games die, we will most likely see many indie games die alongside it. Even though it's a weird thing to say, there must be some sort of balance to the industry, and it feels like currently it's changing. But yeah, Helldiver 2 is fudging brilliant. Did you know that bugs flying out and there's another faction coming called the Terminators or whatever? And they look scary as hell. Yeah, we have another worry, and it could be the most worrying worry of the worries. Could be the worrying of worry of worries. Going back to the crossroads, and if we go down this lane, we see the AAA industry get downgraded and shrink into the AA industry. This possibly making it a higher reward and a lesser risk for games throughout the system. This though could be damaging to the indie games and change the balance. Another road shows that ET will grow to the point where the AAA games will implode and will rise from the phoenix something new and weird and hopefully good for all gamers. The third road is maybe the worst road, as we just all play games on our phones. I'm already addicted, I need to get rid of it. Then road 4, the unknown road, as currently we have no clue where the AAA industry is going, and it's worrying. For years it was simple, ooh, new game, let's play it, ooh, new game, let's play it, and so on and so forth. At the minute, the cost of development is going up, and I remember back in the 360 PS2 era, I looked at the industry and wanted to think that video games will make me feel like I am playing in a movie. Now I play 5 hours of Marvel Snap, 3 hours of Helldiver, and the rest of my day through Stardew Valley, and none of these feel like I'm playing a movie. Well, maybe Helldivers 2. There are the gaming elites out there that most likely already stopped watching this video and clicked the dislike button.
For every dislike, I kill a game in your backlog.
That's 60 frames per second, whatever amount of P, motion capture people to make it look like a Last of Us Part 2. But if you look at Nintendo and some of the most bought games in the world, gameplay over graphics works, and it's possible that one of the reforms of AAA could be the downgrade of graphics, as there is going to be a limit, and I think basically hit that ceiling with the last generation. Ghost of Tsushima, Uncharted 4, Last of Us Part 2, perfect games, and all on the generations before. But these games cost an arm and a leg to make. Still, to improve these games would cost more, and would it be worth it? I think all 3 of these games would have been amazing even if the graphics were downgraded. Take Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart for example, with that cool dimensional stuff being quicker than I blow my ham in turn 1. Can we cut that out? The fact that history repeats itself is worrying, and it feels like ET will strike again, and with that we will see the industry reform in a cheaper way. Monetization will most likely increase, ET will grow, and it truly is possible that AAA will slowly implode and change into something different. I do think we should definitely start worrying about it, as the fact that one of the big 3 is weirdly skipping a year with PlayStation. I don't even know what Xbox is doing. Is it even a console? I doubt it will be in 4 years, and that is also worrying, but that's for a different video. Nintendo will just be as cool as it always will be. Stay cool, Nintendo, stay sane. And that's it for this mumble. What do you think of the AAA industry? I truly think we should be worried. As always, if you got this far, put mumble down in the comments, like and subscribe to future mumbles, and I will see you on the next mumble.